everybody. Yep, big old shock and shift this week with a Sagittarius full moon, expansive, optimistic, and that is a prelude to a big shift into Gemini. You guys ready? Let's do this. And we're going to start with our overview slide. Dreambot, just an update there. Looks like it is healing nicely. One of the disadvantages of the new Dreambot version is that some of the websites aren't allowing the bot to go into it. And the biggest website is Facebook. You have to have an account, and that's just something I can't do on the bot. So all the Facebook dreams are not going to be counted, unfortunately. But other than that, it does look like the Dreambot's coming along. We're just building the new baseline. Okay, getting into the tropical astrology this week. Big, profound alignments. We got a full moon in Sagittarius, and it has some confounding variables that we'll look at. And then all these planets here that you see here, Sun, Venus, and Jupiter this week are going to make the shift from Taurus over to Gemini. Sun is already in Gemini, and it's going to be a big Gemini party. Now, the I-Ching, this is interesting. Oh, remember last week we had this big yang energy in the tropical astrology, but the I-Ching said retreat, and I thought that it was it's just so much that we're going to want a periodic retreat from this yang energy. It just so happens that it's the exact same I-Ching, but we have 4 change lines. To me, the chances of having the exact same I-Ching reading 2 weeks in a row is beyond coincidence. Just the chances are so low. So this basically confirms my hypothesis in my mind. But wait till you see the change lines. That does make a huge difference, and that means that we're going to have a different solution rather than just the retreat thing. So just cosmically all in a line, and this is the week that the energy is going to release. I promise you that. All right, here we go. We are going to start off with the Best Comment Award. Shout out to Bold and Beautiful Tarot. I'm feeling so overwhelmed by all this motivation to keep pressing forward. And, yeah, you're not the only one. This week, wait till you see the solution, because the energy that's been pent up, you can't just have this building up yang energy, and it has to go somewhere. You can't just dissipate and then it's done. So this week the lid comes bolting off. Even though you have that I-Ching that I just read saying retreat, it's going to be an explosion. That's the shock, and then the shift. Shock and shift. All right. Where do we go? Yeah, normally I do the Dreambot here, so we skip that, and we are in this Aries eclipse cycle. We are just at this Sagittarius full moon, and so the energy window is going to shift starting at 23rd. So that's the Thursday. First day of this CIRF report is the Cosmic Cocktail Social. I did another video on that, and so when you finish this video, go back and watch that window report and get familiar with what's happening energetically in this window. It's about a 3-week period from 5/23 to 6/17/2024. Now we funnel down into this CIRF week, and the one thing I wanted to point out is Gemini. So Sun is already in Gemini. Remember, our week is in between these 2 vertical black lines. So the Sun is already in Gemini by this time. Then early on in our CIRF week, Venus will go into Gemini, and then Jupiter will enter Gemini. So that means that Sun, Venus, and Jupiter are all together, energetically very strong for this Cosmic Cocktail Social, including Venus and Jupiter conjoined right at the offset. All right, plus a lot more. So the gold rush energy, or the energy behind the gold rush, still apparent. We kind of have like kind of a crossing. We have a shock that kind of divides the gold rush window and the cosmic cocktail social. Here's your other graphic representation. We have this Sagittarian full moon and the Venus Jupiter conjunction that kind of shocks us. It'll be an energetic shock, and love the picture that I was able to find. It's basically a nuclear weapon or nuclear detonation, but in a heart shape. So because it's a very expansive shock, it's a shock wave of optimism, everything Sagittarius, optimism, enthusiasm, cheering. And then you've got the Jupiter, which rules Sagittarius, with Venus. And so it's a sensual outlay too. All the five senses get it basically exploded, saturated in a very positive way. And then this gradual onset of Gemini. But by the time this surf week is over, it is full on Gemini. All right, on Thursday, the 23rd, here's your shock. And it's going to be down here in Sagittarius at 2 degrees, 55 minutes. That's the full moon in Sagittarius. And notice that we also have a trine over to Neptune, but even tighter, very tight at 2 degrees is a sextile over to Pluto. So this makes this a very powerful full moon and acts as the philosopher's stone, the legendary alchemical substance said to transmute lead into gold. And this unlocks the elixir of life. Pluto in Aquarius represents the alchemical process itself, the deep metamorphosis occurring within the collective. So we have the picture is going to depict the philosopher's stone. And many of us are going to feel during this full moon, plus or minus 24 hours, higher wisdom guiding the trajectory of societal transformation, ability to find direction and meaning amidst upheaval, opportunities for personal collective awakening and liberation. But we might be a little disoriented just how much energy is here in this rapid collective shift. After all, it is a full moon as well. So there you have that. Then, so this is not all, just like we talked about before, Venus and Jupiter, look at that, 29 degrees at the time of the full moon. They are very close together, within 14 minutes of each other. So very, very close, still in Taurus. And this is the cornucopia, the overflowing horn with the endless abundance of fruits and flowers and Earth's bounty. So this energetically feels increased experiences of pleasure and sensual enjoyment, opportunities for material abundance, and potential for joyful, loving relationships and social connections. In our signature background, we are still fixed, and that's going to be, we'll still Earth fixed, or fixed Earth, which is Taurus. And that's important because of the shift. You're going to see the signature shift in the background. This is Friday, the 24th. And you can see that, oh, by the way, Venus entered into Gemini by noon on Friday, the 24th. Venus will have already been in Gemini. So she enters at 3:30 p.m., actually the day prior, on Thursday, the 23rd. Venus will enter, and this is more of the quantum butterfly. This is laid out in the energy window called the Cosmic Cocktail Social, but just to give you an overview on this energy, it's the quantum butterfly, transformative agent of change that operates through the power of ideas, communication, and social influence. It's the magic of those tiny wing flaps right? It's seemingly insignificant actions like a flapping of a butterfly wings. The quantum butterfly represents the potential for those small and insignificant actions to create large scale revolutionary effects. So, with this quantum butterfly, with Venus entering into Gemini, will have us feeling amplified personal magnetism and social influence, potential to tap into the collective consciousness and shape societal trends. But it does have a potential to use charm and influence more manipulatively. None of this energy is all good or all bad. It's a little mix of both. And then what's missing is the free will of it all. So it's one thing to feel something, then how is the person going to react from it behaviorally? Well, we don't know because of free will. On Saturday, the 25th, this is when Jupiter now enters into Gemini, and it's at 6:14 p.m. Central Daylight Time on the 25th. This archetype invites us to approach life's big questions with a sense of lighthearted inquiry, to seek the truth through the kaleidoscope of life and diverse perspectives, and to find meaning in the puns and paradoxes of existence. It reminds us that wisdom and growth often come disguised in the social dance of jokes, riddles, and playful provocation. We can see travel in there, see time. We also see abundance of learning. So a lot of us will feel this expanded mental horizons and increased curiosity. Some of us will feel an enhanced ability to see multiple perspectives and connect disparate ideas. Some of us are going to feel like an overload of all these ideas and mental aptitude, and maybe expectations of learning, maybe a pressure to learn all these things, which then kind of look like a burning up circuit board in the brain. But increased social connectivity is part of this. All right. Now, let's look at the background signature now. Now air is dominant and mutable is dominant. So it's mutable air. Shocker there, huh? That's Gemini. Mutable air. On Sunday, not much change here. Not many things to mention. But we do see the triple here with Venus, Sun, and Jupiter all trying over to Pluto. Now we start to see this big channel here. It's an easy channel, and it's very indicative of the cosmic social, because the Pluto is very transformative, but it's bringing in this collective part of Aquarius. And so it is a cosmic collective social. And we also have Mercury sextile Saturn, which brings in the, Gemini ruler is Mercury. And Mercury has an exact sextile over to Saturn, which makes things a little more serious, but it's opportunistic. It's taking this cocktail social very seriously, but it's the opportunity here with this sextile as the metaphoric guidebook for translating divine insights into grounded, applicable knowledge. This is the codex, the systematic framework for interpreting and applying the language of the cosmos into everyday life. Kind of brings more of a foundation down into the air, and it's not just this free willing party. It's actually kind of has a utility to it. Feels more focused and grounded part of it, especially mentally. Opportunities to create practical structures and systems for manifesting dreams, because we see Saturn in Pisces, very a dreamy place, greater ability to discern essential truths from illusions or distractions. You have mentally acute Mercury opportunistically with dreamy, serious Saturn. That is greater discernment for sure. Tuesday, not much of a change, all the things that we've mentioned before, including the signature background. And then once we leave here on Wednesday, last day of our CIRF report, we have the Venus combust parallel. Venus and Sun conjunct. They're within 1.5 degrees, and they are parallel together. So there's a good chance this is going to be a true cazimi for Venus. And we'll talk about that in the next report. We also have the Jupiter trine Pluto. This is the power to expand your knowledge and intellect. It puts the power even more into maybe learning from the collective cocktail social. We have Mercury closing in on Uranus, only 3 degrees away. So this is the inventor profile. It's also the eccentric changes, especially to your mental acuity. Mental shifts. This is part of the shift. Mars over Chiron, something we haven't mentioned yet. So this is the fighting to heal yourself, which really applies to me and my foot. I am fighting to heal thyself, and it's working, and I do appreciate everybody's help in that regard. 4 broken bones in my foot, and so I'm taking this very seriously, this Mars and Chiron. And then we are closing in on a last quarter moon by the end of our CIRF week. All right. That was the astrology. Let's look at the I-Ching. Again, exact same I-Ching reading, except we have the 4 change lines. Remember, last time didn't have any change lines, so the solution became 33 as well. This time we know that it's going to be a different I-Ching reading for our solution. But we also know that these change lines are important. Bottom line, line 1, because it's a change line, feeling exposed, feeling visible, or too visible. And this is, if you can imagine that kind of nuclear detonation of optimism, you can't miss it. That's what this line 1 is saying. Everyone's going to see it. A situation, line 2 says, a situation where someone of integrity is under attack or is being vigorously pursued by an opposing force. Yeah, true. Line 3 says temporary alliances may be necessary. That's going to be an interesting combination to our solution. Line 5 says the key to maintaining a clear focus and taking resolute action. Once your mind is made up, do not let yourself be distracted by lesser concerns. Don't be distracted. And that it does apply for sure into our solution. But let's button up our influence. And here we go. There's a cool picture that I found. Love it. It's basically a heart-shaped nuclear detonation. It's this unmistakable, expansive, very powerful outward energy, but in an optimistic sense, not a negative one. It's very positive. So that's the first day of our CIRF report, and then the shift is after that, the shift towards Gemini. The shock and shift week goes like this. Right at the onset on May 23rd, we have a powerful Sagittarius full moon that is also tightly sextiles Pluto. That power part, it was understated in my opinion. It's going to bring in a very powerful collective influence to this. That's what, a full moon in Sagittarius is fiery and expansive like this by itself. But without that sextile Pluto, you don't have like a nuclear detonation equivalent. That's what brings that in. Almost out of nowhere, this feels like a shocking dose of optimism, expansive existential wisdom, maybe a desire to travel and really high level learning and introspection. As we try to make sense of this shock, the shift of Gemini begins. Starting with the Sun, Venus, and Jupiter, welcome to the Cosmic Cocktail Social, where the energy is full of wit, humor, social discourse, camaraderie, uplifting charisma, and storytelling. This is the Shock and Shift. All right, let's get back to our solution, and we'll get you on your week so that you know exactly what to do, how to orient. So these are the behaviors that we're looking for. There are always creative possibilities inherent in polarities. By the way, when you put in those 4 change lines, you get hexagram 38, diverging interest. One polarity is reminded of the interplay of the opposites, yin and yang. You must hold on to your integrity and individuality. Here are some just suggestions for I-Ching 38. Stay mindful of the challenges or opposing forces you encounter in your life. Stay committed to your goals. Persevere through challenges. Be willing to let go of rigid positions. Can you kind of see where we're headed? We're taking all that pent up yang energy from last week and this big full moon sextile over to Pluto, and we're going to be able to do something with it. See the writing on the wall here. Cultivate inner strength and resilience. Opposition can test your inner strength and resilience. Embrace challenges as opportunities for personal growth. Next, we got to take our full moon and convert it over to sidereal. That's the biggest energy we have, is the full moon. Right there at the onset. It's in hexagram 34 of the Rave Mandala, and we have Sidereal Scorpio. Can't wait for this triangulation. All right, this is the power of the great. This is looking at the Rave. And so we're in line 3, machismo. This is the climax of yang energy, the indiscriminate display of power. Now you can see where we're headed still, right? It's not like trapping in this yang energy. It's display of power. It's not even the display of power. It's the indiscriminate, meaning that it's natural. This is the exaltation only in that it is natural and not contrived. The display of power that defines any role. Basically, it's saying machismo, display of power, but it can't be contrived or made up. Can't be pretending. It needs to be natural. So here's your chance to use all that yang energy that has been built up. All right, let's go to our final solution matrix. And here we go. We got some cool pictures here. We've got the diverging interest. And basically, remember, don't shy away from challenges, right? That's kind of the picture here. This is the indiscriminate machismo power. This guy's rooting up a tree with sheer force. We have sidereal Scorpio, and we have a full moon. Any questions? This is big energy. So here's our triangulation. I'm sorry, big energy. I meant to say big solution. Our most powerful triangulation to date for our solution slide. The energy that has been building up and expanding recently can now be channeled fully outward with very few restrictive caveats. So where I would start is don't bring it weak. If you are going to tackle something this week, go all in and use maximum resources. The full moon, the rave, the sidereal Scorpio all agree to compulsively, intensively, and passionately move forward, move outward with strong yang orientation, not just using the full moon, using the whole of last week, whatever left that you had that is still lingering. It needs to be channeled outward, hopefully on productive goals that you had set, or any new projects that came up, or restoring anything. And it is full on energy channeling. You probably should, I don't know about next week. Can't talk about that because I haven't even looked at it yet. But I wouldn't be surprised if we're heading into a last quarter moon for you to have expended in a yang orientation, just get all of that yang energy out. And most of us should be pretty tired by the end of this CIRF week if you've done that right. The I-Ching doesn't restrict us per se, but does add some important reminders. Number one, hold on tightly to your integrity and your values, and don't shy away from those. Don't veer from those. Okay. Embrace oppositional challenges. They can strengthen you. It doesn't mean that you pick all your battles, but don't shy away from the main challenges that feel like you need to engage with. Hence the arm wrestling picture. Look for opportunities to find mutually beneficial outcomes. It's not you versus the world this week, but it's not like an automatic you have to sacrifice your will and do the collective version of it. But it does say if it's convenient as you're doing your thing, if there's a mutually beneficial outcome possible, consider taking that one. And then commit to learning from every challenge you face. Every challenge, look at it as an opportunity to be sharper, smarter, stronger. This week, act and be strong, be proud, be tough. Just do it. This is the week to expend all that yang energy. We are headed into the last quarter moon, which is going to be the phase of the moon where we sort of sit back, rejuvenate, introspect. So anyway, go all in this week. Anything that you have left. If you don't have much energy, well, I don't know what to tell you. You just do what you can. But this is a full-on week to get everything done that you need to get done, and do so with gusto. And you don't need to reserve any energy on the back end. Doesn't look like, just based on the lunar timing. All right, everybody, this is the layout for the week and your big opportunity. I'm going to shift it back to one of my favorite pictures. This is a nuclear detonation going off, but with love. It's a heart-shaped nuclear detonation for our shock and shift. Super optimistic. Really looking forward to this energetic week, and welcome to the Cosmic Cocktail Social. Time to learn from others and exchange ideas and get out there socially. All right, everybody. Have a great, powerful, wonderful, abundant week. We'll see you here next week. Take care. Namaste.